Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Trails Radio Show. Thank you for joining us this evening. Today, my special guest is Mr. Ray Lopez. Thank you, and join us in a minute. Okay, my first question to you is, how did you get started in the industry? How did your career begin?
Well, my career began very early, and I was only about 5 years old, and I got my first taste of radio. I was living in Hollywood. Our family had a really nice house that was close to Hollywood Boulevard, and on Hollywood Boulevard, radio station KFWB had their offices. So every Saturday, I would ride my bike down to KFWB, and the people there were really nice and let me in, and I would watch the DJ for a couple hours. I was just so intrigued with radio. And one day, the disc jockey, who was Ted Quillen, said, "How would you like to announce a new record that I'm going to play?" And I was so excited. I was really thrilled. I was only 5 years old. And to be able to get on the radio, wow, that was really something that would be truly amazing. So he played the record, and he told me, as it fades out at the end, I want you to announce the name of the record and say that it's brand new on KFWB. So I said, okay, and I did it. And so I was probably the youngest DJ ever in the history of radio. I was only 5 years old, and I was announcing, "Sorry, I ran all the way home" by the Impalas. So that gave me the bug right then and there. I went home, and I would play DJ in my room. I had a lot of records, and I would pretend every afternoon that I was the afternoon jock on KFWB. So that stayed with me for quite a long time. Then I was about 22 or 23 that I got a job at KISS FM, and I was a production assistant, and I was producing commercials with the production director. Then KISS at the time had an AM and an FM station. The overnight jock on the AM station quit. So they asked me if I wanted to fill in doing overnights while they looked for a new person to take the overnight show. I said, sure, I'll do that. So I was on the air. This was about 1975. And I had the overnight show on KISS AM. And it took them a couple months to find somebody suitable for the overnight show. So in the meantime, I was doing it. When they did get somebody to do it, they sent me back over to the FM station to be production assistant once again. So I did that, and then I did that for a few years. Then there was an opening. A friend of mine called me, and he said, "Hey, I'm living in Orlando, Florida now," which I wasn't aware of. And so we got talking about that, and he said, "Hey, there's an oldies station here in Orlando that's looking for a jock. How would you like to take it?" Well, that means I would have to move to Florida, to Orlando. But what the hell, it'd be a pretty good job. It's the afternoon shift, which is a good gig. So I called the station. I talked with the general manager, and we went back and forth for a few days. Then finally he said, "How long would it take you to move to Orlando?" I said, "Probably about 3 weeks. I could probably do it then. I could sell everything I own and move out to Orlando and go from there." So I did, and I had the afternoon shift on WHHL. And so I did that for a few years. And then, let's see, what was next? I'm trying to remember what station was next. I remember. I got an offer from a friend of mine who was a sales manager at a Cadillac dealership in Los Angeles. And he said, how would you like to leave radio and come work for me selling cars? And I didn't want to because I wanted to stay in radio. Mm-hmm. But he made the offer so enticing that I just couldn't say no to it. I couldn't reject it. So I decided to move back to L.A. selling cars, and I did that for a few years. And then there was, I went back to UCLA to finish my degree and to get my diploma. While I was at UCLA, I was part of their radio station, an FM station. And it just brought a lot of good times back to me about being in radio. So I applied for an internship at KBIG 104 FM, and I got the internship. It was 8 weeks of paid internship, and at the end of the internship, there was no guarantee of work. However, they did offer me a job in promotions when I finished the internship. So I got to working in promotions and enjoyed that a lot. I had a great time doing that, doing remotes and working at the LA County Fair and the Orange County Fair. Mm-hmm. I did that for about a year and a half when the assistant program director asked me if I would be interested in doing the overnight shows on weekends. So I said, sure, that would be great. So I went back on the air again. Now, this was about 1994. Mm-hmm. And I was doing the overnight show when the program director decided to do a special show on Saturday night called Saturday Night, Disco Saturday Night. That's what it was called. And they played disco music. It was a big hit. And I was the producer for the show. So I was not on the air, but I was producing the show. And I did the overnights on weekends for about a year, I think it was. And then the general manager asked me if I'd be interested in taking the overnight show on weekdays, and he would give the weekends to somebody else. So I jumped on that right away. And for 4 years, I was the overnight show jock for KBIG 104. Mm-hmm. The station was sold. The new owners fired practically everybody. They cleaned house. So I was out of a job, as well as most of the KBIG people were. And I was looking to get back into radio. It was about 2 years later that an overnight show that KZLA, a country station here in LA, was running, needed a producer for that overnight show. The producer they had was quitting, so I took the job. And I continued working in radio. That lasted for about 3 years. And at that point, there was a new general manager who came in, and he cleared out practically everybody. So I was out of a job again. Anyway, I've been out of radio since then. But fortunately, I've been talking with the general manager at KSurf, which is 1260 AM here in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend that works at KSurf. I have a friend that works at that station.
You do? Mm-hmm. Oh, really? Oh, okay. What's his name?
He does, his name's Larry Van Nuys. He is a disc jockey there. I think he does the afternoon slot. The morning slot. And
yeah, the morning slot, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm talking to them, and in fact, I'm supposed to get a call later on today from them. we're trying to work out something where I can go back to work there. So I'm looking forward to that. And that pretty much sums up my radio career.
Yeah, I love radio. I've been doing my show for 6 years, and radio is just fascinating to me because there's so many ranges you can go from. You know, the opportunities are limitless, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Mm-hmm. My next question to you is, what do you find is the most difficult part for you being in the industry? What do you find is the most challenging?
The most challenging is getting to know the new equipment, because it seems that the technology advances every year. So keeping up to date, I think, can be quite difficult because there is so much to learn. And then once you learn it, it's time to learn something new again. So it can be pretty treacherous.
Yeah, you have to learn to keep up with all this new technology, and it changes practically every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My last question to you is, what is your advice to people who want to get into the industry? What is your advice to people who want to get into radio?
Research. That is so important. Get involved with a radio station at a university or a college, if you're going to college, or if you're in college or at university. Get involved with their radio station to get your feet wet, to learn the basics, and then research all you can about the local stations that are in your area. Find out if they have an internship that you could possibly pick up, and learn promotions, learn production, learn about being on air, even learn about sales. Get to know everything you possibly can about that station, because after the internship is up, that will make you more valuable to them. They could put you in any one of the departments because you've learned about those departments. So that makes you pretty valuable to them. I would say do your research on the radio stations. Try to find out their history, learn about them, how long they've been on the air, the formats that they've had, maybe some of the disc jockeys that they've had in the past. I think that's very helpful in knowing the history, because that way you'll be very knowledgeable about the station you're applying to for an internship. And I think that helps make a really good transition when you first move in and begin to learn, how the different departments work. So I would definitely say that would be it. Main thing is go to college or university and get involved in their radio stations.
Yeah. Yeah, know what you're getting into and do your research, and yeah, it's always good to intern, and start from there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I was out of radio for quite some time, and I took an internship at K-Big 104, and I didn't see that as a step down because I had been on the air. Mm-hmm. Now I have to take an internship. I didn't see that as a step down. I saw that as a step forward into getting my feet back into the station so that I can progress and get back on the air again.
Yeah. Well, Ray, thank you for letting me...
So I saw that as...
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
I said, well, thank you for letting me interview you. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for your advice and telling me about your career.
All right, great, Trey. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. You have a good day.
You too, buddy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. And that was radio disc jockey Mr. Ray Lopez. Thank you very much for listening, and God bless. Thank you.